So Roland posted this video the other day about why AMD is not a short, even though it is on the heavy shorts list for December. And you should watch his video. He always makes great points. But it reminded me about AMD because a lot of people don't know this, but I actually worked there as an intern back in 2000, and so I worked there for 6 months from like January to May or June or whatever it was, and the as an employee, so I was an intern, but I was a paid intern, so I was formally an employee for those 6 months or whatever it was, and the part of the benefits of working at AMD was there's an employee stock purchase plan, ESPP, and you get a 15% discount basically. So you can apply a certain percentage of your paycheck towards stock purchases, and then on the data purchase you get whatever the market price is, you get 15% off of that, and so it's a little bit of incentive to support the stock basically. So so this is the importance of speculation versus dividends, or speculation versus investing, really. So the way I define things is that investing are things that produce a yield. So that could be dividends from a stock, that could be cash flow from a business, that could be coupons from bonds, could be lots of different things. But it's you put money to work, and that investment is then providing you returns over time. It could be putting in a Splinterlands deck into deck 404 and earning a yield daily. So all those things are investments because yes, they have value, but then they provide some kind of cash flow. I don't want to forget about rental real estate either. But then speculation is things that have value, but then you are guessing on future appreciation. So that could be you're buying gold and you're just putting it away, and then over time you think it'll go up. Same with Bitcoin. Same with real estate that doesn't cash flow. Same with a lot of stocks that don't pay dividends, and AMD is one of those. So when I was working there, it was the dot-com boom, and I was there during the time when the first gigahertz processor was released, and AMD beat Intel to the punch there by a few. I think it was like 3 weeks. It wasn't a lot, but I was right here. So in this ascending period, and there's been a split. There's a 2-to-1 split there afterwards. So the prices were actually higher. But so I was working in the lab doing motherboard testing, making sure that manufacturers like MSI or Asus or whatever, that their motherboards were working compatibly with AMD processors. So, but there's lots of different people in the lab doing different things, and I just remember being there at this time, and I was 20 years old, and all these guys were looking at their Daytech stock streamer, which was the thing at the time. So these announcements were coming out about the new processors, and stock keeps going up and up and up. People were calling, like when it hit up here, people were calling, their family, saying, hey, stock's really high, you might want to consider selling, et cetera, et cetera. So there was a lot of mania there, and it lasted for a little bit, and then the bottom fell out of the dot-com bubble. So as part of the deal with the purchase plan is that it was restricted stock for a year. I couldn't sell it until, so I left there, let's call it June of 2000, and then I couldn't sell it until here in June of 2001. And price was already down by that point. I think I ended up selling somewhere in here. I'm not sure, but maybe I broke even. It was not a great trade for me, but let's pretend for a moment that I didn't sell, and I still had that stock from 20 years ago, and the market went down, and the market came up back to break even basically, and then the market went down, and then bounced down and down, and now it's up, right? So from here to here, it's up 50%, which over 20 years is terrible. So that would not have been a good long-term hold. But also, I didn't make any money in here. It's not like, when you have a dividend stock and you reinvested, then those that dollar cost averaging into the stock, then you actually build a larger position, and now a 50% gain might be 150% gain. But none of that happened with AMD. So I'm not trying to pick on AMD. I think their machines are great. The processors are great. And, with the video stuff that they've done, I'm all for it. But as a stock, as it doesn't qualify as an investment for me. It's a speculation, and if you got in down here, then great, you've done wonderfully. But if if you're doing like a long term, like a 20-year hold, like I could have done, um, then that has not worked out very well for you, because just round numbers, 50% over 20 years is 2.5% a year, and that's really, it was 0% for 18 years, and then 50% in 1 year. So you just have to really be clear on what you're doing. And I see in the investing world, I just see a lot of conflation between these different ways of making money. So yes, things have value, assets have value, appreciation has value, but it's always a speculation. And there are some techniques or some strategies where you convert that into a cash flow through periodic selling of portions, and that all makes sense. But just know what you're doing. Really, are you investing for a yield, or are you speculating for a capital gain? And they each have their different purposes. Anyway, just had to get that out there because Rollins post here.